The story of the Frass meteorite really begins in my childhood. When I was very young, on my probably first or second year in school, my mother sat me down one day and she said, "Son, you're a Christian, and here's what Christians do. They read their Bible every night, and they pray to God for those things that they want and for those things that are important." Well, as a child, I had no clue what was important, but I'd known for a while what I wanted, and that was a piece of space. From the first time I heard in school that the stars were suns like our very own, but they were just far away, I just knew they were inhabited by people just like us, and that turns out to be the case. And so virtually every night of my life up until high school, I prayed that God would send me a piece of space and let me do something important. So by the time of high school, I'd pretty much forgot all about this, and I joined the Marine Corps, went to Vietnam, came back, and had very few job skills. So I ended up working on my great aunt's ranch, and it was the winter, I think, of 70, 71. We were feeding the cattle, which meant that we went to the same pastures every day, and that way the cattle would know when to come in, and it was kind of a routine that was established. So on this particular day, we'd just left the Sidna, and we was driving down the road, and when we turned north in what we call the North Meadow, we instantly saw a rock on about a half a mile away, I guess. And there really are no rocks on the ranch. It's just sand hills, and mostly sand, and an intermittent creek that runs through it. And so we drove over to it, and my aunt says, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, if it's a rock from space, it's a meteorite." So I spent some amount of time, maybe 90 seconds, looking at it and just trying to evaluate the situation. I could see a small indentation about 18 inches to the north, which looked like to me it had bounced one time. By then, though, she was already honking at me to come on and get back to work. And so when I got to the truck, I asked her if I could have the meteorite, and she said sure, because to her it was just something that covered her grass, and since she was a cattle rancher, grass was her most important thing. So anyway, that's how I eventually found it, and boy, has it led to a lot of troubles and a lot of things. I've tried over and over to get the scientists to look at it, and they have just done nothing but reject me. So I've had my own tests done, and we'll be going through those in the next video. When I was a child, though, I thought that scientists were next to God. And now, after I've dealt with them for years and years, I'm not sure they're not next to the other guy. They're so egotistical, they know everything. If they don't discover it, it ain't real. I'm really disappointed in the state of our science. And that's part of the reason that gravionics was developed, because it unites spirituality and science. You can't be a scientist without being spiritual. So more later, if it be the will of God.